Now the economy went south as you were heading toward production on this, and you ended up putting real people
Yeah.
in your movie. How did that happen?
And when I first started writing the movie, as I said, I thought of it as a corporate satire, and I wrote humor scenes in which people got fired. And the more that became a reality, the more I realized, well, I can't just make comedy out of these scenes. This is real, and there's going to be about 1 million people who watch this movie who had just gone through this experience. And when I sat down to try to write a more realistic version of it, I thought, I'm never going to do this justice. I haven't been in this situation. And the only way I thought to do it was, well, let's just find real people that have lost their jobs. And we happened to be shooting in Detroit and St. Louis, which are the two cities that got hit hardest in the layoffs of the last couple of years. And we put an ad out in the paper, in the Help Wanted section, saying that we were doing a documentary about job loss. And people sent in paragraphs about how they lost their jobs and how it affected their life, and how they have started to search for purpose in their life when they could easily be 60 years old and wondering what their career is supposed to be now. And they would send a photo of themselves, and we brought them in, and they went through an interview process, and we brought it down to 60 people that we put on film, and 25 are actually in the movie.
They're really moving.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting on many levels. I mean, one, we gave all these people jobs, and now they're members of SAG, as they get free screenings now too. But more importantly, they're absolutely authentic, and I could have never written the dialogue that they said in the moment. And basically, we would ask them kind of what happened, and then we would fire them on camera. And I asked them, I want you to respond as you did on the day you lost your job, or if you prefer, how you wish you responded. And, for a living, my job is to watch an actor and try to get them to open themselves up and be real. What was amazing to me is that these 60 people who were not actors, none of them were actors. A lot of them were Detroit, a lot of them were automotive. St. Louis, a lot of them worked for the brewery there, and within a minute, they were so real. And they would start asking questions of our interviewer as though they were really being fired. They asked about their severance. They asked, if they had to leave immediately. Were there any other jobs in the company that they could go for? How soon did they have to go pack up their things? Is their insurance going to carry over? The kind of things that, of course, our interview had no idea about their real situation, but they were so in the moment that they would just ask these questions. They would open up and they would cry. There's an African-American actor that plays right before J.K. Simmons, and people ask me all the time about him. They said, where did you find that actor? And it's like, no, that's a real guy who just started talking about the idea of what he was supposed to do on the weekend with his kids now. And he starts to shake, and it's truly heartbreaking. And I remember talking to J.K. Simmons. I said, look, you're going to have to follow that guy. And he was like, oh, come on.
He was fine. Now, Anna Kendrick,
Yeah.
I had seen her in Rocket Science.
Yes.
Presumably you
I think
did
you're
too.
the other one who saw Rocket Science.
There weren't very many.
Sadly, it's a great film.
I agree.
Yeah.
So you put her in this role. It's like an intergenerational thing that you've got going,
Yeah.
where George and Vera are the older generation, and she's representing. Maybe where are you in this? Are you in the middle between those two?
Yeah, I guess I am. I'm about halfway in between.
So she's representing the techie, the colder younger generation, and what they think. You can fire people on a video screen, and maybe she's not right.
Well, what Anna Kendrick's character really was to me was a representation of a woman that I have not seen on screen yet, which is a girl who's right out of college, who just is too smart for the room, and is incredibly frustrated by everyone around her. And she's based on actually my wife a little bit, and other women that I've gotten to know who I always absolutely adore. I'm just I feel bad for really smart women because they do have it rough coming out of college because the people around them aren't smart enough to keep up with them. And I was excited about doing a young female character that had no love interest. I don't know another film right now that has a girl in her early 20s who doesn't fall in love. That's not the intention of her character. So I had seen her in Rock and Science. I thought she was just perfect. She helped me identify what the voice was just by seeing that movie, and I basically wrote it for her. We had to do auditions, and I just remember thinking, oh, God, I hope she comes in and she nails it because I don't know if there's anyone else who can do it. And I was right. Many other actresses came in and no one really came close. And Anna came in and she just crushed it. She knocked it out of the park.
One of my favorite moments is when she's on the phone with her boyfriend and she sort of says, well, no, no, she's referring to the George Clooney character. He's way too old. I'm
Yeah.
not interested. And then
Yeah.
George does a spit take.
Yeah.
With George really was willing to sort of make fun of his age.
George uh, put a lot of trust in me. And I can't exactly say why. It's not as if there was a moment where I did something and he gave me the nod, and from there on we were good. He he came into the project open, and there's nothing that I ever asked of him that he refused to do, and we built a strong mutual trust very quickly, and it's one of the great directing experiences I'll ever have.